Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Hopefully you guys are doing fabulous today. It is Thursday, the 5th of January. We're already into the 5th of January. It doesn't feel like we should be already at the 5th. I don't know. So as you guys are coming in, if you would please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you do appreciate today's case coverage. I do have it on subscriber only mode in the chat only because of bots and things like that. It just makes it easier on everybody. So let me see here. I wanted to check something really quick. Okay, I was just checking the title here. So, yep, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit that like button. We are trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. That way, I get my neon sign back behind me here, TitaniumBuilt, and we're going to do another giveaway. So, can't beat that. So, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Let me get my iPad set up. That way, I can see the chat better over here. And let me know in the comments how your day's going so far. Also, I did put in the chat, if you want to join our membership, we do have our channel membership, so you can just click the link right there if you would like to join. And then lastly, just thank you for coming. I really appreciate you guys all coming and joining me today and spending a little bit of your day with me. All of your comments, I want to let you know, all of your likes, comments, subscribe, super thanks, all of them are all greatly appreciated, and they really do help the channel grow. So I wanted to go over, so last night I misspoke whenever I said, when we were reading the docket sheet for today that someone had sent me like through the email. I think that, I don't know, there was a misunderstanding there. So Kathy Mabbitt isn't his attorney. In fact, his attorney is, what was her name? Ann Taylor, which is so funny because isn't that like clothing, like a clothing line? I'm pretty sure it is. But she's worked with another murderer, and she got the conviction overturned because of she brought evidence saying that an officer was lying. So let me put my feet down. I was trying to be comfortable there, but that wasn't working for me. So I wanted to go ahead and read you guys this article because I was wrong. Hi, Isabel. Hi, Celestina. Did I say that right? Celestina? That is such a pretty name. And then this is his attorney right here, and she has already sent out like investigators and all these people to the house where the murders occurred to go ahead and start collecting evidence and things like that. So she seems to be doing a lot more than I've ever seen any other public defender do so far, ever. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I think she's doing a lot more than I've seen any other public defender do for a case. But I mean, we want to make sure he does have a really good defense because we don't want this to come back later on and them say, anything that he didn't get a good trial. He didn't have a good trial or something. So we don't want any of that. None of that. So if you're just now joining us, we are talking about the Idaho 4 murders that happened on November 13th. We are talking about Bryan Kohberger. And I do have a picture to show you guys too, because I think there's a cut on his hand. But we are, right now we are looking at his lawyer, her name's Ann Taylor, which is so weird to me. I swear that's a clothing brand. Good morning, first time here, Lufa. Oh, good morning. I love your name and I love the greenery around it. I'm a huge greenery person. If you can't tell, I have a big tree back here behind me. I forgot about that. And I've got some greenery over here too, but you just can't see that. Okay, so it says Bryan Kohberger's new female attorney famously overturned murder conviction after exposing lying Idaho cop. Quadruple killer turns to public defender Ann Taylor, who has already scorned crime scene. And then there's pictures of that too. So this is the attorney that's representing him. I'm not going to read like the whole thing to you, but I just wanted to make sure I mentioned this in the beginning because I did I was incorrect yesterday. So last night I was getting tired on that live. There was so many things flying at us at once. It seemed like that always happens on a live. So I don't know what's going to happen today, but You guys stick around because usually whenever I do a live, some breaking news happens. Like the last few lives have been like that. So it does say that Ann Klein, 57, has already sent a team of investigators to the house on King Road in Idaho to start a crime scene reconstruction ahead of Kohberger's return to the state. He left Monroe County Correctional Facility at 6 a.m. this morning and was transferred into custody of Pennsylvania State Police, who are handling his transport back to Idaho. I don't know if you guys all saw that him on like his little walk, but his little perp walk, but I'll show you really quick. I don't want this to be too loud. That way, if you're like, you know, what are you talking about? This is him here. If I can get it to blow up, I'll play it a couple times. And then they actually put a helmet on him too. I didn't notice that. We didn't see that in the live last night, but I have a picture of it or a video of it. They may even show it right here. Nope, they didn't. So, let me see here. So did you guys see it where they put like a helmet on him? Because I thought that was kind of strange. And I'll play it a couple times as well. But yeah, they put a helmet on him. Apparently they don't want anyone to shoot him in the head. They're putting like a combat helmet on him. They're really taking excellent care of him. Do you know what I mean? Like they want to make sure that nothing happens to him. Like at the jail, they put the suicide smock on him. They take their own helicopter. You know, it's just insane. They take their own helicopter there. They put a helmet on him. They have the suicide or the bulletproof vest. They're making sure that he is going to be held accountable for his actions. So I'm going to take that off the screen because that was a lot. It was kind of jumpy. Good morning. Oh no, you're not starting. No, you're not. Oh no, you're not late. You're paying your bills. Oh, that's the worst. That's not fun. Skip that. I would be like, nope, not today. So there was like a couple other little things I wanted to show you before we get into the Nancy Grace thing here. Let's see if I can find it. We'll go back to here actually because I was reading this. And then, so this is her here, it looks like. Not sure what she's videotaping, but it says, Taylor and a team of 4 others visited the home where the bloody slayings took place on Tuesday, the same day as Kohberger waived his extradition in court. And then, yeah, that's her there. So, and I've never seen, and that's another thing I've never seen. I've never seen where, I don't know, maybe this happens more than I know, but I've never seen where the defense team is able to go to the actual crime scene and it's still there, preserved all the way. Like they were stating on the news today, what if, about the crime scene crew being there if they had gotten a chance to clean anything up. Hell no, they didn't. They had just put the tarp up. And everything. They had no chance to touch anything because they're going to try to say that it could be contaminated. Well, most defense teams don't even get the chance to go into a crime scene. They just get the discovery evidence from the prosecution. So I feel like they should be I think they should feel lucky. Man. Yeah, how was the chiropractor? I bet you feel good. Oh, I need to write that down. I keep forgetting to call the chiropractor for myself. Okay, so, and then this is another picture. I wanted to show you this picture. It's hard to see because this is Latah County Sheriff's Office, right in front of it. But it looks like there's a cut on his hand, and I don't think I can go in anymore. Let me see. It looked like it let me go in a little bit, but not a lot. Let me see if I can do it on my other. let's see here. If I can get it. No, not that. Okay. I'm trying to share this. It might even be better just. It might even be better just like this. But it does appear to have a cut there. Oh, hi, Crime with K. Thank you so much. I love your name. Do you have a channel? It sounds like you would have a YouTube channel, Crime with K. Let me see if I get this in any bigger. I haven't got the new mouse yet, guys, so that's the problem there. So I'm trying to use my MacBook. Let me see. Open this. Okay. I'm doing something over here, y'all. And then well, maybe. Let me see. Okay. I just gotta share this other screen with you guys. I got it like zoomed in. What do you guys think? I think it looks like a cut. Oh, well, I'll have to look you up. I'm gonna put your name down. Crime with K. You gotta start somewhere, you know. I started a few years ago, but I started doing true crime in August. I switched from traumatic injuries and accidents and all kinds of stuff. I still do that to more true crime. But if anyone ever asked me to do a video for them, I would do one. So can you guys see this? Is this like allowing me to share with you? It doesn't look like it is. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, wait, there we go. It's like, I don't know how I did that, guys, but I did. Is it allowing you guys to see it? Okay, it doesn't look like it's pulling up for you, though. There we go. Hey, Detective One. Oh, man, my stomach just growled. Y'all, I'm hungry. I'm thinking of the other day when I know another creator is in here allegedly. I'm thinking of that cinnamon donut still that he was talking about he had. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm eating a cinnamon donut. This was like 2 days ago. Now I want a cinnamon donut. I haven't stopped thinking about it. Yeah, it definitely looks like a bad cut right there. I think so too. So yeah, so it's had about 7-8 weeks to heal. If it would still be there, especially if that's not a superficial wound, that's like deep. So I wanted to show you guys that because I saw that and I was like, huh. And then I do believe in the video of the body cam footage where they're showing between his fingers, it does almost appear like he's cut there too. I really wish I knew how I did this and I put this on the screen like that because that would be like really helpful. But I don't know how I did it. I'll have to figure that out. Yeah. Oopsie. Okay. So if you guys are just now joining, if you could please like the video as you guys are coming in. It does push it into the algorithm where people can enjoy it. It's just fun to do that. It's free to do too. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, that would be great as well. I do have it on subscriber only in the chat only because bots come in, when I'm flipping through pages. We don't like to deal with that crap around here. So we just go ahead and put it on subscriber only mode. If you decide you don't like the channel, you can go ahead and unsubscribe after you chat with us for a little bit, if you'd like to. So, go back to here. I think this article's almost done. And then we'll get to Nancy Grace because I want to hear what she's got to say. Oh, Nancy. Because we were going to watch Nancy Grace last night, but then everything happened and we didn't have time. So let's see here. I don't think there's much more to say, talk about with him. My iPad's a little it lags a little, so I'm just making sure that everything pops up on the screen. Because sometimes I'll share something with you and then it doesn't even share, and I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, so, Ethan and Mystic Girl Wolf said Ethan Zana gave him a good fight. It looks, I believe that full-heartedly. I don't know about Kaylee or Maddie, but I do believe with Zana's dad saying that she had defensive wounds, and then Ethan just being a male, I feel like he may have some defensive wounds. I do believe that. I believe that too. I agree with you. And then I believe the girls upstairs could have gotten DNA, like Isabel said, under their fingernails as well. He's just got busted. It says she has worked for, I don't know how to say that, Kootenai County Public Defender's Office. I probably butchered that. Since 2004, that's the year I graduated high school. Don't do the math. And was given the top job in 2017 after John Adams retired. Taylor worked for a case of Jonathan Ellington, who was accused of using his car to run over a woman in a road rage incident. Ellington, who was 45 at the time, was convicted and sentenced to 25 years for the crime before having it overturned because of an Idaho police officer's false testimony. Ugh. They're not going to do that here. I feel like too much is at stake. At the time, Taylor said that Rise was pivotal in the verdict of Ellington, adding that he had a presence in the courtroom. Okay. Fred Rice was accused of lying to the court in relation to the incident, with Taylor representing Ellington throughout. He was later reconvicted of the charges during a second trial after the Supreme Court ruled that Rice lied on the stand. Oh, look at his tripod. It has like wheels. That little tripod there. Wonder what they're seeing there. We can view the gallery. Oh, good morning, SRB. Yeah, I think he'll need to meet his attorney first too. This is lagging so much on this side, so I'm going to be having this up forever. But I was going to go through these pictures real quick. Looks like a very small airport that they came into. He's expected to arrive late on Wednesday, but we watched that last night. And if you guys are just now joining us, and if you have any questions over the case, don't be afraid. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We'll answer them for you. No question is a dumb question, because y'all, I be asking questions to you guys all the time. And you guys are always giving me the answer when I need it. So, and we are waiting from, oh, I love the UK. Your accent on your videos. Oh, I will. I love accents too. I love it. And then I don't know what I was saying. She said accent, and I was like, what? I wish I had an accent. I mean, I'm sure I do. Chief of Moscow Police James Fry confirmed at a press conference on Friday that the cleanup plan was called off because of a court-ordered link to the arrest of Bryan Kohberger, which I don't know if you guys were watching News Nation, but they set up. Took them maybe like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I don't know, to set it all up, get it all perfect, the tarp, so nobody could see anything. And then within 5 minutes, I swear they had it like all down and packed up, and the cars, like the cars were gone. They were out. They were just bye. So that way the defense could come in and, check out the scene, which we were on a live when he got arrested. We were, it was like a 9:15 live, I think it was. And remember guys, yeah. And he got arrested and we're all sitting here like, what? So that's why I'm saying stick with us, because there's always some breaking news on this channel. I feel like always something going on. We've had that a couple of times. And then this is the Court of Common Pleas of Monroe County. This is his waiver of extradition, which I believe, I don't know if that's, no, this is the gag order. I need to get the, we're waiting on the probable cause. And then it just says, that he voluntarily goes there on his own free will. I still think, it still cracks me up that they had the smallest cop walking him. Oh, there's the beautiful girls. And Ethan, adorable. I think that Ethan was the cutest. They were like the cutest little couple. I think that, oh man, it's so sad. Those guys didn't deserve that. And then this is Bryan's parents' home, which, I mean, look at that little house in the back. That's cute. I would take that. I live there. I guess they bought that house for like $138,000 back in 2014, I think it was. I'm not completely sure on that. There's his dad. You can barely see. What time is he to appear in court? Let me look, because it wasn't coming up last night. Let me see if I can find it. Because we were trying to look it up last night, and his name wasn't even coming up. Because that's what I was talking about. We thought it was going to be today at 10, but I don't think that's it. Because I read the wrong paper. So I came back and I read the right one. And his lawyer is Ann Taylor. She's 57. She's had investigators out at the house. Let's see if I can find it. You think it's a 10? And they're not going to allow cameras there, but I wonder what channel would be covering it. If you guys know what channel would be covering it, let me know. I swear we're going to watch this Nancy Grace thing sometime. I'm going to keep going through the pictures just till we can. Oh, and there's his sister. And I believe that's probably his mom. Don't know who that girl is. There's his public defender. I think we already saw these. Yeah, we did. Okay. Oh, and then there's the Pope. Let me see. I heard they're going to be live recording sound from the overflow room of the courthouse. Do you know who will be? Oh, did she? I didn't even notice it. And then also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you love true crime, please subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you. I do pre-recordeds. I do lives like twice a day. We are all over on top of things around here. Let me see if I can look it up by like Latah County. I don't see where it says. Okay, upcoming proceedings. January 5th. Okay, so let me share this with you guys, because this looks like it has the name of everybody on the docket. What did it say? I thought I saw a live recording for the court. Oh, court TV had a shot of inside court, but I don't know how recent it was if judge will allow them at the moment due to gag order. Okay, yeah, I know. I'm so like new to the sleuthing thing myself. So I did find this, so maybe it'll have his name on it. Okay, it doesn't look like it. So, oh wait, what's this? Yeah, his name's not on there. Like, because he would be in Latah County, right? But I guess this is, I don't know if this is all the judges. Yeah, this is all the judges, it looks like. I wonder what judge he has. Because I have the Zoom info if he, I mean, I don't think they're doing it over Zoom though. John or Jeff? Okay, let me see. It's weird. We have a, like, look, we have a Judge Marshall, and a Judge Judd. That would make no sense. Let's see. We could always go over to like Twitter and see maybe. Yeah, the jail is underneath the court. That's how it was in my hometown. Well, it says he can make an initial court appearance today on Twitter. It's crazy that he's just like not on there. You know what I mean? He's not on the thing. So let me see. Let me put this other one up. If anyone knows, if anyone has seen where we can get a live stream of the court, not like the court in the courtroom, but we could probably get one outside of the courthouse. I'm trying to think of what we were watching yesterday. Let me just put this up here for you, so you, because his name is not on here, which is so weird. Yeah. I don't see it anywhere. And this is from the district court of like Latah County. They're making my job harder. That's what I thought. You know what? I'm going to turn on the TV again. Like we did yesterday. But I think, well, it is still early, so. And I can get on and look on YouTube also. So we will find it, guys. So stick with us. We are going to find it. And then we're watching Nancy Grace also. And as we're waiting, let me see if I still have my subscriber counter. So look at this. So we are at 3159 subscribers. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers to get my neon sign. That's just for me. So that's, for me. So, but for you, giveaway time. And you get to see a pretty sign behind me. So I guess it is for both of us. But I love it. I love that you can just watch the numbers going up. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and then also just like the video if you could, please. That way other people can enjoy it as well. And where was I at? There we go. Let me turn on News Nation. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. I'm the worst at this. There it is. I have like a remote on my phone and I'm trying to figure out which one it is. It's like, which device is it? Where are you at in the house? Oh, thank you, Crime with K. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. We started pretty small. In September, I had 179 subscribers. We're doing pretty good, guys. We're doing excellent. Excellent over here. I love it. I know Mystic Werewolf 3K. Can you believe it? I'm still a baby channel, but we're growing, which is nice. It's always nice to grow. Let's see what News Nation has on there. Okay, so it's on commercial. I'm trying to think of, let's see. Let me find the news station out there. Yeah, so law enforcement was directed to stop him, Maryland, and look at his hands. They wanted to see if he had any cuts and things like that. It was a really strategic move, and it was pretty smart. I don't know. I would have been like crapping my pants if that was me. If I would have been like, oh, I would have been running. I probably would have stopped the car, literally, and just took off running for no damn reason, though. The officer would have been like, I'm just pulling you over for clearance, dude. I would have been that scared. I would have been out like trout. But then again, that's why I've never committed a crime. So let's see here. Oh, I think I might have found one. Maybe. Let's see. I'm trying to find like a local news station. That way I can look it up on YouTube because it might be easier. But News Nation, you might have it. You may be right. Because they're showing stuff right now. I think that's what it said. Has anyone heard of Clio News? I don't think that's it. It's so close to 10. I hate to like start playing Nancy, but I don't want to find it. Then I'm trying to find the news out there. Oh, maybe this is what it is. Sorry, guys. Okay, well. News Nation's not saying anything yet. Kremlin News. I think that's the one I was on. Well, I was on Krem 2. I don't see that one. Am I spelling it wrong? Yeah, I don't see anything there. I had it like Krem. But when I go to their live, it just has this, so it probably won't have anything. Maybe they'll have something in a minute. It's so crazy that the court, they don't have the court on there. Okay, so this is Crim 2. And I have News Nation on, so I think we'll find it. If you're just now joining us, we are talking about the Idaho 4 murders that happened on November 13th. We were going to get into crime stories with Nancy Grace's podcast, but we believe that he is going into Bryan Kohberger, the suspect in custody, is going to be going into court at 10 a.m. So we're trying to find the live news feed. They may have a live news feed outside of the courtroom or outside, at least outside of the courthouse, so we could kind of see what's going on. And that's why I came home I made sure I came on early today too, because I was like, just in case, you never know. But I have News Nation here, and then we have Crim 2 News here, which I can always, make sure that there's nothing coming up. If you guys haven't yet liked the video, please like the video for me. That means the world to me. It does send it out so more people can enjoy it. More people can join the chat. Just makes it better. Go to Court TV. Okay. I was going to say maybe Court TV would have it. I don't think I have Court TV on my cable provider, but we have it.
Coming soon.
Sorry. Their lives are from 5 days ago, though. Is it on Court TV? Because it wasn't on there. So let me go back to Crim 2, because I think this is their actual, sorry. I think this is the actual news out there. Sorry, guys. I'm sleepy today a little bit. We were up late last night. I was up till 12:30 or something crazy. I got off the live and I was starving. I was like, I'm hungry. So we ate, and then, of course, I couldn't go to sleep after I ate. Yeah, Isabel said it was funny when an officer asked where he was going and he said for food. I thought you really drove almost 600 miles for food. Yeah, he said something like we were going to get Thai food or something. I'm like, yeah, he was just trying to say something. Okay, I think I may go ahead and start playing Nancy. Because we have 5 minutes, and then we can always be looking around too for what's going on. And then I can always pause Nancy. Should we do that? Is that good? Does anyone object to that? And then I'll keep looking too. I got my phone over here. So I can pull up Twitter and stuff. Because maybe we'll see it. Dr. Lipchin said, I'm thinking they have the goods, his blood DNA, or near the victims. In order to get a no 3 a.m. knock hostile raid in PA, you need irrefutable evidence. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. There was people that were saying his parents came to the door and stuff, and I'm like, they didn't give them time to come to the door. They blew the door open. They were like, sorry, we're not going to pay for that. That's what they said. Let me see here. I love Nancy. Nancy's the best. I feel like if I was a news anchor, I would be like Nancy Grace because I have no filter. I would be the brown-headed version of her. So we'll go ahead and play Nancy. So she's going to be just talking about the arrest and what she thinks about the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. She has a panel of experts on there, different detectives, forensic experts, things like that, attorneys, and we're just going to listen in. So, and I'll stop it too if we, whenever we hear something good that we need to discuss.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. In the last hour.
Bridget, you made such a good point. I forgot that they were in Idaho. because they're 3 hours behind us. TF, remember last night TF was like, I'm not going to be in the live tomorrow because I'll be sleeping. And I was like, well, no, you just wake up, TF. He's from Washington, I believe, Washington, California area. So he's one of our Titans. So yeah, it's right there. It's 10 o'clock right now here. So it's only going to be 7 o'clock there. Thank you for saying that. That's how exhausted I am. So we'll come back and do another live this afternoon on that. Probably. Because that's 3 hours from now.
It's what we have all been waiting on. An arrest. Finally, an arrest in the slayings of 4 beautiful Idaho students found dead in their beds. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Fox Nation and Sirius XM 111. How did it go down? Take a listen to our friends at Fox News.
Bryan Kohberger is being held right now, just about 12 hours after his arrest early this morning. This mystery, of course, finally getting the break that we have all been waiting for as federal, state, and local law enforcement descended upon this area, taking him into custody 2,500 miles away from the crime scene in Idaho.
2,500 miles away. Joining me in All-Star panel, but first to Stephanie Pagonis, crime reporter with Fox News Digital. Stephanie, what happened? 3 a.m.
That's correct, Nancy. Just around 3 a.m. In fact, it might have been even a little earlier. A man named Bryan Christopher Kohberger was taken into custody in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That is nearly 3,000 miles away. In fact, much more than 2,500 miles away from the crime scene here in Moscow, Idaho. Now, he remains in Pennsylvania as we speak. He is being held without bond until he can appear in court on Tuesday afternoon, when he will make his extradition hearing appearance. Now, once he is in court for his extradition hearing, he will have the chance either to waive his extradition or not to waive his extradition. If he chooses to fight his extradition, this could be a little bit of a battle between prosecutors here to push for his return to Moscow.
Okay, hold on. You know what? Everybody thinks that extradition is so hard. They take about 15 minutes for a full-on extradition hearing. Let me go out to Dale Carson, high-profile lawyer joining me out of Jacksonville and former FBI agent, author of Arrest Proof Yourself. He's at DaleCarsonLaw.com. Dale, can we just take off your defense hat for a moment? Extradition hearing. Yeah. It's not, are you guilty? Are you innocent? No. Have we broken any laws? No. Was there an illegal confession? OHELL, no. All it is I confirm that you are, in fact, Dale Carson.
That's exactly right.
And if you won't admit you're Dale Carson, I'll just do a fingerprint comparison right there in the courtroom.
That's right. In the federal system, it's called an identity hearing. And you either are the person named in the warrant or you're not. So there's a federal warrant, a UFAP warrant, an unlawful flight to avoid prosecution warrant issued by the federal government. And the SOG team has been following him for maybe 2 weeks. The Special Operations Group out of the Bureau tracking and watching him. It's going to be fascinating to find out what they overheard during his conversations if it was electronic.
I just wanted to say something really quick. Do you think the officer, this is what I think with the whole tracking him from, Washington to Pennsylvania, do you think the officers maybe switched out vehicles? So like as they're following him, maybe every so many 50 miles, and one car will go off the highway, another car would go on the highway to follow him? Because if you're driving the same vehicle for that many miles and you're following him, let's say, how did he not see them behind him? And notice the same vehicle driving behind him for that long. I notice vehicles around me when I'm driving on the highway. I will know what vehicles are around me. So, and a lot of those roads, when you're coming through different towns, it's not all highway there. It's just so strange that he had no inclination that he was being followed. It's insane to me that I don't know. That's insane. But if you are just now joining us, we are watching the Nancy Grace newest podcast on the Idaho 4. She's talking about Bryan Kohberger's arrest and what she thinks about that. and we love her for it. We also all have 85 people in the chat, so I am loving that. If you guys would comment where you're from, what the time is, what the weather's like the video, please like the video. We have only 26 likes, so we can probably move those up a little bit. And then don't forget to subscribe as always. I don't have mods, so you'll hear me say that from time to time, but that's all I got to say. So let's get back to the podcast.
Monitored as well.
Okay, now wait a minute. Dale Carson, do you have reason to believe he was electronically monitored?
So special operation groups do that. And if he's got a federal warrant out for him, it's likely that they have the necessary search
Gotcha.
warrant to do those kinds of things.
So let me go back to Stephanie Pagonis joining us from Fox News Digital before I go to the rest of the panel. Stephanie, I heard Dale Carson say that he had been surveilled for about 2 weeks. I know that he had been surveilled for 4 days because he jumped up and left where he was in Pullman, that's near Washington State University. I guess he had, a house or an apartment there, and then he heads home to mommy's place. So how long has it been since he left Washington State?
You know, it's hard to pinpoint exactly from law enforcement when he drove or however he got home to Pennsylvania, but I can say that just this morning, law enforcement, including Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson, were at his apartment in Pullman, Washington. This is only a 21-minute drive, 11 miles from the crime scene, and it is on WSU Pullman campus. He was a graduate student at WSU Pullman. I was just there this morning where law enforcement were conducting or executing a search warrant at that apartment. It was a much lower key scene than what we have seen at 1122 King Road, the scene of the crimes, but we could see law enforcement going in with protective gear, and neighbors, I can tell you, were shocked. No one expected this from what we could tell, and frankly, many people didn't even recognize Mr. Kohberger. One person said he had saw him going back and forth from the mailbox to his apartment, but otherwise I'm hearing this is a relatively quiet neighborhood that was definitely shocked that this was happening.
Let me guess, he's a loner, kept to himself.
Imagine living in that neighborhood, right? They're in the Poconos. It's a gated community. You're sleeping and 3 a.m. you hear that next door. No, I can only imagine. They took him with force because he is allegedly, he allegedly did such a horrific crime that they weren't just going to walk in or knock at the door and go, "Hey, can we just come in? We're just here to grab Bryan real quick." So I don't know. I just think that being a neighbor in that community would have been hell that night. Could you imagine being the cop approaching the car? Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine you get the phone call and you're like, I don't know if they use walkie-talkies or what they do, but that you get the call and they're like, pull the guy over in the white Hyundai Elantra. We think that he killed 4 people, but act natural. Act like it's a regular traffic stop. But try to get some information out of him, see what he says, things like that. I would be a nervous wreck if I was that cop.
Only spotted going back and forth to mailbox. This is what I know so far. I know that he's about 6 feet tall. He's a white male. I've heard he's got blue eyes and brown hair. I'm looking right at him, but I can't make out his eye color. They appear to be blue. I know that he was a, quote, obsessive vegan. He is a libertarian, and he got his master's degree, from what I understand, at DeSales in Pennsylvania, and was getting his PhD at WSU, Washington State University, about 12 miles away from the murder house. I also know that he was working on a research project in which he sent out questionnaires to criminals, violent criminals, to better understand their emotions, their thinking, and their decision-making as they were committing a crime. Now, you know what? I'm not a shrink, but I can tell you this right now. A guy all wrapped up in studying the thinking and the emotions of violent criminals got way too wrapped up in it. In his pictures, He looks very pale.
He looks like Bundy.
Okay. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he does. Joining me right now, Cheryl McCollum, director of the Cold Case Research Institute. You can find her at coldcasecrimes.org. Okay, Cheryl, jump in. Isn't it just what we said? Look under mommy's bed. That's where the killer will be hiding out.
Absolutely. They always run to mama. What they're going to be doing right now on this guy is they're going to be looking at his online activity to see whether or not he bought that knife online, whether there's any connection with any type of writing on his academic papers. He is not going to be able to hide this fascination that he has. He's not going to be able to do it. And furthermore, I believe in that apartment, they're going to find.
Okay, so I pulled up a picture. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see. Let's see if I can get a better picture. A picture of Ted Bundy and a picture of our boy Bryan here. And yeah, I got to admit, I could see the resemblance. And and I've been saying, don't compare him to Bundy. I don't compare him to Bundy because Bundy killed certain people. Bryan killed other people. Do you know what I mean? There's victims, but this picture looks like they could be like cousins or something to me. So I wanted to show you that. Yeah, he does look like him. The eyes. Like, oh, wow. Okay, so we'll go back to the podcast. Actually, you know what? I could keep his picture up and then just play it in the background, I think. Hold on one second. Let me see something really quick. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start playing the Nancy Grace podcast. I want to see if I can leave his picture up and play the podcast in the background.
A lot of things written down that are going to be able to connect the dots.
So I guess I can't do it like that. I have to, if I share that picture, it takes the podcast off. So sorry. Sorry guys, I didn't mean for that echo to come in. I was trying to listen to see if make sure you guys could hear the podcast. So, okay. Also, we are checking out we're doing a live stream on our subscribers today. We are trying to get up to 5,000 subscribers to get you guys a giveaway. Also, we're going to do a giveaway. Also, I get my TitaniumBuilt neon sign. So your girl really wants her sign. And she wants to do a giveaway. So right now we're at 3166. And when we started, we were at 3158. So we're not doing too bad, guys. Not too bad. But we do have 92 people in the chat. So this number could fly. I feel like it could go up dramatically. And I'll go ahead and start doing the podcast again. Also, if you could, please like the video as you're coming in. It really does help my channel grow. Subscribe to the channel and comment your thoughts in the chat.
And from the mailbox, there's no mention. Has anybody heard about a girlfriend, an ex, a high school sweetheart, and anything?
Okay, sorry to pause that again so fast, but I just said that last night on the live. I said no girlfriend has come forward, no one night stand, no ex-girlfriend, no nothing. Like, has he ever dated anybody his entire life? I don't know. Still here cooking chicken for my boys. Oh, oh man, I'm hungry, guys.
Not so far. Is it possible? He's an incel. Joining me, along with Dale Carson, Cheryl McCollum, Stephanie Pagonis, is Joe Scott Morgan, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet, and host of Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan on iHeart. Okay, Joe Scott, we understand. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on, Joe Scott. Stephanie Pagonis, the white Hyundai Elantra, was outside his home. Was it outside Mommy's home, or was it outside his place in Pullman? And I guess his place in Pullman was a house. He lived in a house?
He lived in the second floor apartment of an apartment building on WSU campus. And yes, we are hearing from multiple reports that the Hyundai Elantra was taken from the home in Pennsylvania, not Pullman.
Mommy's home. Hold on. I'm making a flow chart, Stephanie Pagonis. Mommy's home. Who lives there? Does the mom and the dad live there?
It's unclear whether mom and dad, but I do believe there is a sibling who is also listed as living there or in the same state.
Now, question. If there's not a mother or father there, whose home is that?
I know, I've seen, at least I should say, records show that a mother lives there. I just am not positive about a second parental figure.
Okay, Jackie is waving at me wildly in the background, trying to tell me, are you saying it's the parents' home, Jack? She's saying she's found it's the parents' home. I'd be curious to find out if the mom and dad were there. I mean, what about it? Nobody thought it was odd that he came home and never went back. I also understand, Stephanie, did he just graduate with his PhD in December?
You know, I can't say for certain. Unfortunately, I don't have that answer, but I know that he has lived in the Pullman apartment for quite some time now, at least several months from what I'm told.
Now, I understood that he got his master's from DeSales University in Lehigh, Pennsylvania in criminal justice and was trying to get his doctorate degree. So if he got that
In June.
I've got May of 2022, there's no way he could be through with his doctorate degree that quickly. So he's working on his doctorate degree. Okay, Joe Scott Morgan, so the car is parked in front of Mommy's house. You know, Joe Scott, you'd think a criminal justice major or criminology major would know to get rid of the car, huh?
Yeah, you would think so. What's curious about this is that does this go to his arrogance or does it go to his carelessness? You know, he's had quite a bit of time with this vehicle since this slaughter took place. He's traveled across the country in it, Nancy, apparently, but yet there it sits, doesn't it? And so you're going to have connection. Nancy, that car is a rolling crime scene. And the fact,
I like that, rolling crime scene. Okay, I'm stealing that. You didn't say that, I did. Rolling crime scene. Keep going.
It's all yours. And I think that is going to be a key, and not just the physical evidence that can be found in there, Nancy. What's fascinating is this long journey that was taken across the country. You know what it's reminding me of? It's reminding me of
Gabby Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie, who leaves her body out in dispersed camping in Wyoming and then heads all the way across the country back to Florida in the car, in the van in which he likely murdered Gabby Petito. Go ahead, Joe Scott.
You know, every CCTV that he passed, every gas station that he went to, every burger joint that he stopped at, well, not burger joints, this guy's a vegan, wherever he went to dine, all right, to fuel himself, there's going to be an electronic signature. Either it's going to be documented vis-a-vis his phone if he's got this thing with him, it'll be pinging along the way. Hold on,
I'm getting another banner from Jackie, and I can cut your guys' mic, but I can't cut Jackie Howard. She's sitting right there. She's holding up a sign that says, fellow student tells the New York Times suspect had few friends at school. Okay, am I smelling an incel? Is that what I'm smelling? I'm not sure, but I'm getting a whiff of something. Few friends.
According to the New York Times, this fellow student says he appeared he wanted to socialize, but had made offensive remarks in the past that had left him somewhat isolated.
Offensive remarks in the past that left him isolated. Oh, what were the offensive remarks?
I'm reading.
Jackie, don't give me half of the puzzle and make me go crazy, for Pete's sake. Okay, back to you, Joe Scott. What were you saying?
His image is going to be captured, the car's image, the tag readers, all of that stuff. And this is documented all the way across the country, Nancy. We're talking over 2,000 miles. This would be, they made a big deal, and I understand why they did it. They were saying, remember, they said they had the 24-mile loop that the cops had gone to around Moscow where they had collected the CC. Listen, in this case, we're talking about over 2,000 miles that they're going to be collecting this videography of this trip along the way. So, yeah, there's a lot to be gleaned from this car and his movements in it.
Well, Joe Scott, they're going to be looking for the blood residue in the car from the clothing he wore when he got back in the car after the slaughter.
Is this Dale Carson?
It is.
Yeah, you know what, Dale Carson? Exactly. When Joe Scott Morgan said a rolling crime scene, not just the car, but everything in that Pullman apartment. Now, Stephanie Pagonis, when I say Pullman, is it the city of Pullman? Is it the Pullman campus? What do they mean by Pullman?
So this is located within the city of Pullman, but yes, it is on Washington State University Pullman campus. This is campus housing, which is typically inhabited by graduate students, many of whom have kids or families, or those who work with the university.
So
and
people were
Nancy,
right down
I
the
just
hall
wanna,
from this guy.
While
Sure,
I was on
jump
the
in.
phone with you, I actually just heard from Washington State University. I want to correct myself. You were correct. He had graduated just in June 2022 from DeSales, but he actually had completed his first semester as a PhD student with Washington State University's criminal justice program. That was just earlier this month that he completed his first semester.
Wait, was I actually right on something? I'm so happy.
Yes.
Keep that clip. So he completed his first semester of his PhD. Guys, also with me, Chris McDonough, director of the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective, and I found him on the Interview Room podcast. Chris McDonough, what do you make of all this?
Well, Nancy, just listening, I mean, all the ideas that we've been talking about the last, weeks or two on this guy, it's obvious he's an ego-driven type of killer, right? And he thought about doing this in a very cool-headed reflection idea, meaning he sat back, he processed, what direction he was going to go. He obviously sounds like he had the education behind it, at least to, think through some ideas. So I'm going to lean on a research that was done by Columbia University, Dr. Gary Broccato, who he mentioned years ago. He has the largest database of mass murderers in the country. And if we look at this 4 victims as a mass murder event, this guy was on the road to becoming a serial killer, because all the indications are at this point, from what I can find out, is this guy had not killed before because he had a very difficult time establishing the needed relationships with other people. So that Lawner point you just made a minute ago is right on target with this guy, especially if he's living with his mom.
Still listed, according to Jackie, as the parents' home. So either the mom and or the dad are tours. Guys, also with me, Chris McDonough, director.
He sat back, he processed, what direction he was going to go. He obviously sounds like he had the education behind it, at least to, think through some ideas. So I'm going to lean on a research that was done by Columbia University, Dr. Gary Broccato, who he mentioned years ago. He has the largest database of mass murderers in the country. And if we look at this 4 victims as a mass murder event, this guy was on the road to becoming a serial killer, because all the indications are at this point, from what I can find out, is this guy had not killed before because he had a very difficult time establishing the needed relationships with other people. So that Lawner point you just made a minute ago is right on target with this guy, especially if he's living with his mom.
The cool weather brings out animals that lay low when it's hot, and there's plenty to see at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Explore the reptile building, Manatee Coast, Animal Encounters Village, behind the behind-the-scenes tours, and much more. Visit columbuszoo.org and plan your adventure.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace.
It
Guys,
wasn't
we
important.
don't
I was
know
just telling
who
everybody
is
to
living here,
like
but
the
it's still listed,
video if they could,
according to
and to
Jackie,
subscribe
as
to the channel.
parents'
And then I just
home.
did the live
So either the
subscriber
mom
count. So.
and or the
Sorry
dad
about that.
are
Thank you,
living
Divine
there.
Timing.
We
I
understand
didn't
there's
realize
a
I was muted.
sibling as well. No word yet of any prior girlfriends or romances, no engagements, no nothing. Guys, let's take another listen to our friend Laura Ingle at Fox News.
The mugshot you've been seeing, 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger was taken into custody 3 a.m. southeast of Scranton, Pennsylvania, at a private residence on a fugitive from justice warrant. Now, there are reports that law enforcement also recovered a white vehicle. You'll remember a white Hyundai Elantra was the subject of a nationwide search after one that was spotted near the scene of the crime in Moscow, Idaho, in the early morning hours of November 13th, where 4 University of Idaho students were found murdered inside their off-campus rental home. Now, Kohberger was arraigned early this morning and sent here to the Monroe County Correctional Facility pending extradition after.
Okay, what's he charged with? Stephanie Pagonis, tell us.
He is charged with 4 counts of felony murder, 1 count each for each of the 4 victims, of course. Then he's also charged with committing burglary, and that is, of course, for breaking into the home on November 13th. Allegedly, of course.
Now, question, you said he's charged with felony murder. Is he charged with first-degree murder or felony murder? How did they phrase it, Stephanie?
I'm sorry, I misspoke there. It is first-degree murder. First-degree murder and felony burglary. Thank you for calling me on
Okay,
that, Nancy.
no. Actually, Stephanie, I'm glad you did that, because when this case goes to trial, I predict these are just the initial charges. I think when a grand jury hears the evidence, that they're going to add felony murder to that charge. I think they're going to charge him in the alternative. Of course, Dale Carson, when you've got a murder 1 charge, which is premeditated, and that can be, the premeditation can be formed in a twinkling of a moment, the moment it takes you to pull a gun, raise the gun and pull the trigger, or blink your eye. Premeditation doesn't have a time on it. So the fact that he broke into the home, and it says, of course, burglary is it says entering a home with the intent to commit a felony, a crime inside. That's burglary.
I'm glad that Nancy actually brought that up, because that just shows, I think in the beginning of the case, you know, when the murders first happened, a lot of people were wondering if the person that, you know, committed the crime, if they were allowed into the house, if they were, you know, actually invited in. So with them putting that burglary charge on top of the murder charges, it just shows right there that no one in that house actually invited Bryan to come in. And that's what burglary is. It's, you know, breaking into a home or dwelling with the intent to commit a crime. So, yep. And then it also just, you know, since I'm paused, like the video, because, you know, that's me. I'm always saying like the video.
And this actually states that he entered the home with the intent to commit murder, which means he didn't try to sex assault anybody. He did not try to take anything. He went in the home with the intent to commit a murder. I think, of course, at trial, Dale Carson, they could put it to the jury a felony murder as well, but they may go ahead and charge felony murder with the underlying felony being burglary. What about that, Dale Carson? Then you don't have to even prove intent.
They could certainly do that. You know, when he's charged with the murder, clearly it was organized, clearly it was planned. They're not going to have any problem with that. My biggest curiosity is, did he confess? He's been interviewed by FBI.
Oh, speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. Chris McDonough, we were told that upon his arrest, he said, has anybody else been charged? Has anybody else been arrested? That tells me it's a sort of an admission of sorts, but is it possible there's another perp, Chris?
Well, you know, that's an interesting comment, right, Nancy? I mean, is he saying that for, again, that ego-driven side of things, like Dennis Rader, right? BTK back in the day, where he would say,
Actually, you know what? I want to tell you guys something about that. I wrote down, I can't remember, I think it was John Wayne Gacy. So when he said, was anybody else arrested? John Wayne Gacy, when he was arrested, the guy that, was charged with like 80 some murders of boys, back in like the 70s, I think it was. So, John Wayne Gacy, definitely, he said the same exact thing when he was arrested. He said, said the same thing. Was anybody else arrested? Or did you catch anybody else? It wasn't like word for word, but it was pretty much the same thing. And then also, BTK, that we did a video on that the other day. He also committed, for his first crime when he killed his first set of people, it was 4 people, the first kill that he had, and he was also 28 years old. So maybe Bryan was, in fact, studying serial killers because, he's saying and doing things that serial killers have done in the past. I don't know why he would want to be a copycat, why he can't be more original, but he's not original.
Every job. So that may be an insult to his ego by making that comment. If they would have responded, yeah, there are other people that we're looking at. So it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds.
Now listen to this. I want everybody to weigh in on this. Remember, we're not having high tea at Windsor Castle. What we understand is cops still searching for Idaho suspect's weapon. He's charged with 4 counts of murder. They traced his white Hyundai to his parents' Pennsylvania address, and they cross-matched DNA found at the crime scene. Okay, Cheryl McCollum, jump in.
Well, that's outstanding. So what that means is you've got DNA in one spot and DNA in another spot, and it matches, and you're saying, okay, so this person went from A to B to C areas in that home, and that cannot be overstated. That's 100%. There's not going to be another way that happened except that killer. So here's the
No.
Okay, slow it down. Slow it. Wait.
Now, because if he's been in that apartment partying before, his DNA could be there.
Oh, please stop. He only goes to the mailbox and back. He has not been in the house partying. Just stop right there. This ain't a party guy. I mean, look at him. Look at his mugshot. He looks
The question is to him,
scary,
have you ever
freaky.
been in that property?
I could just see these eyes, Cheryl McCollum, staring in the window at me, changing clothes. Cheryl, are you there? Jump in.
I'm here. No. And here's the thing, Nancy. They're obviously going to try to establish, and they probably asked him the second question, have you ever been in this house? He probably either said no, or he had whatever reason he had to be in the house before. Then where in the house did you go? Chances are he had no reason to go to the 3rd floor. He had no reason to touch a bedspread. He had no reason to touch a windowsill. He had no reason to touch the sliding glass door and the front door. He's going to have a hard time explaining that. And I'll tell you something else going to be in that car. Same O.J. Simpson.
I can't hear you. What's going to be in the car?
Think about O.J. Simpson, that one drop of blood on the outside of the Bronco that had more than one victim's blood swirled in it. That's going to be key. There's no way he clipped that car well enough. Not possible.
Yeah, if there's a transfer, that's 100%. I agree with that.
OJ also got off with his crime, so that's not a good thing to say. OJ got off with the crime. He was found not guilty. Come on now, guys. Don't compare him to OJ.
1,000%. If they have the victim's blood anywhere in that guy's car, he's toast. He's toast.
Well, yeah, and the reality is, of course, Joe Scott Morgan, that there's no way, unless he bathed his car in black swan muriatic acid, there's no way he's going to get rid of DNA. Plus, he can't see all the DNA. But this guy is a criminologist. He's got his master's degree, for Pete's sake.
Nancy, let me jump in here, please, about that and just put people's mind at ease. I can memorize the rules of cricket, but I couldn't officiate a game. He can study things all he wants to, but when he tries to put something in action, That's a different ball game. You've got
You're
somebody
so right, Cheryl.
stabbing, and you're, one person might wake up, one person might fight you. He's never experienced that type of incident. There's no way he can prepare for that from a textbook.
Well, we don't know that he hadn't killed others.
Guys, can I get back to my original question? Have I ever cut Dale Carson's mic in life? Because it's coming. It's coming. Chris McDonough, help me here. Anybody help me. Because what I understand is officers traced the white Hyundai to his mommy's address in Pennsylvania. Then they cross-match his DNA found at the scene. So his DNA is found at the scene. I wonder, Chris McDonough, how they isolated his DNA from all the other DNA they found at the party house, unless what Cheryl is saying is correct, that it was in places it shouldn't have been, like in one of the murder beds, in the second murder bed, maybe within the blood. What do you make of it, Chris?
Yeah, I think there's all of those possibilities, and that it could be in cast off of some sort if there was a struggle, which we know there were defensive wounds from the victim. So the possibility of the suspect cutting himself is high on the list. And so that cross mixture could be separated pretty easily. And then immediately they can do what they call an ANDI test, ANDI. And that is a rapid DNA test that immediately can identify this guy, not necessarily who he is, but his DNA makeup. And then when they come across like the car, or I had a case one time where the suspect put the knife back in his pocket, and we found blood inside of the pocket of the suspect's pants. So that blood, if it's the DNA that they're looking for, is pretty easy to get. Or they followed him and they picked up a cup. The old, remember that, Nancy, back in the day? You pick up a cup.
Oh, gosh.
You
yeah.
pick up a cigarette, and bingo, you're in town. So.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you think possibly Joe Scott Morgan, that's why they were surveilling him, to catch him throughout a pizza box or toss away fast food so they could get DNA?
Yeah, for all the care that a wannabe criminologist might have, he got stupid. I think they've had a team sitting on this guy. They being the feds, more than likely, they've been watching him very closely. And he got stupid. He cast something off, and as you know, as an attorney, once you throw it in the trash, it's no longer yours. So they can go collect it. And it's source DNA. It comes directly from him. So, back to what the other guests have mentioned, this unknown that would have been indwelling at the scene. And remember, they said they identified his DNA there. If he injured himself, or if it was sourced from another fluid from his body that originated from him, then they can compare those two with this evidence, this DNA, this rich DNA that they're
Why do you talk like that? Another DNA source that originated from him. Let's see, there's blood, there's saliva, and there's sperm. It's got to be one of those three, right?
Yes, yeah, that, or sweat as well. And keep in mind, again, a lot has been made over the fact that this is a sharp force injury case. He would have had to have used this knife over and over and over again. By the time you get to the fourth person, you're going to be perspiring as well. So I think
remember,
that might
there
also
was
be
sweat DNA found in Stephen Avery's car. The guy who murdered Teresa Hallback, the amateur photographer, well, actually a pro photographer. And it was found, I think, on the steering wheel of her car, which was hidden at the edge of his property. And if you don't know those names, you would know the name Making a Murderer by, was it HBO or Netflix? Yeah, who seemingly tried to make Stephen Avery appear innocent. Yeah, and sweat. So how do you think they isolated his DNA? Did you say, Joe Scott, are you going along with Cheryl McCollum's theory?
Yeah, I am actually. I think she's right on the money with this. It would be a commingled, which just means that it's mixed together with everything else. This scene is going to be evidence rich relative to the victims. There's a lot of bloodshedding. You're going to have the commingling, and I've mentioned this a couple of times over the weeks, where you're going from body to body to body. So you're commingling DNA from victim A with B, with C, with D, and then you throw his into the mix. They can identify those very specifically, those four victims, And there's also touch DNA that's at the scene. Remember, they keep using this term party house, party house. There's a lot of DNA there from other people. So they're having to go through this task of eliminating everybody. They've isolated all of these unknowns. Maybe his was appearing in various sites, from all over these rooms, and maybe from the bodies themselves. And so he did something to screw this up, where he cast something off. They were able to capture this and compare, and then it's academic at that point. It's not a big ask at that point to try to identify somebody.
Just want to remind everybody that Idaho does have the death penalty. Jackie, I'm pretty sure it's lethal, death by needle. But I want to go to this thought. Fry refuses to rule out the possibility of an accomplice. I've never bought into the accomplice theory in this case. Who would go along with the murders of 4 people and never say a word or screw up and get caught? Plus 1 weapon we think was used. Jump in.
Sorry, Nancy. Well, what's interesting to that point is just earlier today, I'd say, just a matter of hours ago, Chief James Fry from Moscow PD had the chance to say they have captured the only suspect they think they need. He was specifically asked if he thought anyone else was potentially wanted in this case. And he did not respond to the question. He did not answer the question directly. All he said was he thinks that he has captured someone who has committed these crimes. Now, police have said, even in the press release announcing this conference today, that this is an ongoing case. But they have not said, and they have not said that they have captured everyone they need so far, which I did find interesting during the press conference.
Yeah, his exact words. We have an individual in custody who committed these horrible crimes. He did not say it was the only individuals. Interesting. Now, let's figure this out. The murders occurred November 13. He's arrested 48 days later. Do you believe that any scratches or injuries he sustained during a potential struggle would have faded and gone away by now? Because I do.
Unless it's a knife cut.
Unless it's a what?
A knife
cut. A knife cut. Okay. All right. We know the extradition will most likely be a very quick procedure, and he will be on his way back to Idaho at that time. We understand that the arrest warrant and the supporting affidavit will be unsealed, and we can learn more. We know this guy has no prior arrest, which I believe all of us predicted a while back, or he would have already been matched to the DNA databank. What can you tell me about a court order, Stephanie Pagonis, a court order regarding cleaning out the house?
I'm so happy you asked, Nancy, because I was actually going to interject earlier about this. Yes, so a cleaning crew, a professional cleaning crew hired by law enforcement, all but entered the crime scene this morning. They arrived at the home, 2 trucks and a trailer, prepared to enter the home and begin to clean it of any biohazards and chemicals that were used in the process of gathering evidence. But before they could even really make any headway with this, they received what was called a legal request by the court to halt any processes there. So they basically got there, all but began before they were told to call it off for the time being. So the home remains an active crime scene in the custody of Moscow Police Department for the time being.
Well, why would they have released it if they think they still need to get evidence?
It's an excellent question, and one that many people have asked about. I believe even Joseph Scott Morgan and I had been discussing this just yesterday. It's
Can I just throw in before we get carried away on the court order? You do know that according to sources, this guy forced his parents to buy new pots and pans, which had never touched meat. Okay, let that soak in for a moment.
So Nancy got that one wrong. It wasn't his parents that, I don't believe anyway. I heard it was his aunt in multiple different interviews and different news articles that have come out. It was his aunt. I don't believe that she's even in the family anymore. I believe this aunt was married to maybe his uncle and they got divorced, and she came forward with the story about him being vegan and how he wouldn't eat out of any pots and pans. that had any meat priorly cooked in them. He asked them to go buy new pots and pans. Pots and pans are not cheap. I understand OCD because I have OCDs and they are extreme, but that's even out of my realm. Like, that's crazy. And I wasn't vegan, but I've been a vegetarian before, and I never was like, oh no, I'm not going to eat that because it was out of a pan that had something, I don't know. And then the way that he was, and yeah, the Thai, yeah, but he said he was going for Thai food. Yeah, exactly. Why would you be eating at a restaurant? Because like they cook meat around it. Like, I don't know. It's just so crazy to me.
He's so against killing animals, but yet he slaughtered 4 beautiful university students.
But Nancy, like we talked about from the beginning, he spared the dog.
I was just wondering how long it was going to take you to bring up the dog, Cheryl, because that's been your focus from the very beginning, spared dog.
It's been key to me because, again, you know people. You can tell them a story and you can tell them, hey, I worked this homicide and this happened to that person and then this happened to the dog, and they will react more about what harm came to the dog. I get it. I understand that heartstring being pulled for an animal, but what I'm saying is when you've got somebody that can slaughter 4 people but not harm the animal, that tells you about this person. And again, we're finding out he's against any kind of animal cruelty. Well, it checks out. But can I say one more thing about his academic prowess? Again, if you were the prosecutor on this case, I can see you right now in court, Nancy, saying this person is a trained professional. He was at the PhD level with criminal justice and criminology, yet for 48 days, he never contacted law enforcement about his car being in the area.
Not once.
Yeah.
Go ahead, jump in.
To dovetail on Cheryl's thought, is this guy enjoyed striking fear, not only in the community, but women as a whole. And, I don't think it's over for him. I think the court proceeding, he's going to eat it up. And he's, because he's sitting back watching, a lot of, I think, what is being said, if he has access, obviously, to the media, which he probably does. Because I think that question that you asked earlier, Nancy, is indicative of the way he's thinking, meaning, are there other people arrested? I think that thought process can go into, and this is my own opinion, his ego and or an accessory after the fact. Somebody that loaned him the car, they may have information, that type of deal. But I still believe that he's the lone suspect in this incident. And that I think he's going to enjoy every piece of this going forward because he's getting a great deal of satisfaction out of it.
I am still stymied at this chilling survey created by Kohberger, asking criminals how they felt while they committed their crimes. Yep. I mean,
yep. Is he doing his own research, right? Was he doing his own research?
Into himself.
Y'all is pulling him. He gets off on it. Anybody that can talk to him about a crime and tell me what did you feel right before, what did you feel during, what did you feel after, that incites him.
Make a crucial catch and intercept cervical cancer. Kettering Health and the Cincinnati Bengals have teamed up to help you reduce your risk. Cervical cancer is the 4th leading cause of cancer death in women. Having a trusted OBGYN is the best way to prevent or treat it effectively. When caught early, cervical cancer is more successfully treated. Click the ad to connect with one of our OBGYN experts and make a crucial catch.
This is the tail end of like the rest of the video, so of Nancy Grace. So there's, I believe, 10 minutes left in the video. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Also, we have been doing a live subscriber count. So we are now up to 3191. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers. That way we can do our next giveaway and I get my neon sign for behind me. It's going to say TitaniumBuilt. It's going to be cute. And we're going to do a giveaway. So can't beat that. So if you guys could please subscribe to the channel, that would be great. And we'll go ahead and go back to Nancy Grace here.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. Now, we've been told that he had a, quote, quiet, blank stare when he was arrested by local cops and the FBI on Friday morning. I've seen defendants like that. I've seen killers like that. I don't know what exactly it depicts. Guys, take a listen again to our friend Laura Ingle at Fox News.
So many questions still unanswered. It would have been about 1 week after these murders occurred.
Now, we know his sister Melissa is a mental health nurse in New Jersey. She specializes in, quote, trauma and emotion regulation. I wonder why that is her chosen field. We know his dad filed for bankruptcy a really long time ago in 2010. What more do we know? He completed a bachelor's degree in 2020, a master's degree in 2022. I know he had attended a Catholic school. Moscow cops have been hunting this exact vehicle in the last weeks in connection with the killings, and they found it. What more do we know? Stephanie Pagonis, it was 3 a.m., or you say a little earlier, when a SWAT team swarmed on his parents' home in Pennsylvania, Scranton, Pennsylvania. What more do we know?
You know, unfortunately, Nancy, not much beyond what you have already shared. And police are citing Idaho laws for the reason why they can't share anything. I asked Chief Fry earlier today if he could even tell us how long police might have had their eyes on him, and if there were any tips, and if so, how many that related directly to Mr. Kohberger. But right now, police are staying quiet, and they are saying as soon as the affidavit is available, it will be in court records, but we should not expect that until at least his extradition hearing on Tuesday.
So guys, let's figure out, had he targeted one of the victims? He only lived about 12 miles away from the party house. What do you make of it, Dale Carson?
Well, I think, as you know, that he surveilled that house for an extended period of time, and it may have been the one victim's departure that precipitated or triggered his conduct. The question I have is, how did he monitor those behaviors, and were there wires, illegal overhear mics in the rooms? You know, today you can produce those that don't give a signal unless you turn them on. They're very difficult to find. And that's why it always upset me that they would turn over the house without thoroughly going through it in a way that would satisfy me, at least, that there weren't other mechanisms involved here that allowed him to do this horrible crime.
Yeah, Chris McDonough joining me, director of Cold Case Foundation. You can find him at the Interview Room on YouTube. Chris, I'm just wondering, I mean, we've all agreed that this was targeted. Now, that could mean anything from following them home from class, meeting them at a bar, walking by their house one day. It could mean anything. He lived close enough that he could surveil them anytime he wanted to. What do you think, Chris McDonough?
Yeah, Nancy. So I think, he was methodically monitoring these victims some way, shape, or another, in terms of if it's one or if it's multiple, and that there's something we don't know, obviously, about his motive in relationship to his ego that has driven him to such hatred. And I would submit that hatred was pointed specifically at the women, and that Ethan found himself in a very wrong place at the wrong time. And I don't think the suspect anticipated him being there. So I think this guy is not only driven by this anger towards women. But I'm going to go back to this thought that he's not done. He's going to keep driving the court system because it's continually shedding, something that he's been missing in his life for quite some time. That's been driving his ego. So there's a wound to his ego somewhere in this whole process, and him to sneak up like this without a sexual component, that means he really is much more dangerous, and I'm glad they caught him.
Why do you say he's more dangerous? Because there was not a sex attack.
Well, because he takes it, he treated this event like it's a major event in our lives, right? Like we're planning a wedding or we're planning a graduation. Well, he was planning this mass murder, and he was very methodical in doing it, evident of the fact that it's taken the time that it's taken for him to come to the surface.
Wow. Okay, sure. I'm going to call him. Were they targeted?
Oh, I don't think there was any question about that. That house, the way it sat in that little cul-de-sac area, you had to know that house. You had to know how to get to it. It wasn't just an easy in and out exit. And again, most people, men specifically, they do not make any crime more difficult. They don't put things in their path. So I believe that he had a watch area, which was up on that hill, where he could sit and watch how they came and went. I think that he understood the day he was going to do it, the time he was going to do it. I think it was all planned out. And again, I think there's going to be evidence of that either in an online type manifesto or somewhere in that apartment where he was keeping almost like a journal.
I think that's very possible. What about it, Joe Scott Morgan?
He has been watching them, and this little town is not someplace you wind up by accident. And I've held that this is he would have had a familiarity with it. May not have ever been in the home, but it's a cul-de-sac essentially. You can make a round and come back out, but there's only one way out in a car. It's a dead end. It's not a location that you're just going to happen upon. You have to be going there to get there. And he, for some reason, one of these three women drew his attention. I think one of the really kind of interesting pieces to all of this, Nancy, is that the people downstairs survived and didn't survive. They had no indication, allegedly, that anything was going on. Why these four? Why these four on the second and the third floor? And I know that can be easily, you can say, well, he entered on the second floor. But if he had been surveilling the location, wouldn't he have had an indication that other people lived in the house? Did he make his way down there? Is there evidence that he came down the staircase? Maybe he touched the doorknobs on their doors or whatever the case might be. I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting piece to this. What was so attractive to him about these three victims? And one other piece here that's really kind of chilling to me that will always stick with me about this case is that TikTok video that those young ladies made. It was a real intimate look into that environment where they're imitating one another, they're dancing about, and it was done in fun. But if you're on the outside looking in, and he had a view into there, the whole world did, of what their life looked like, this kitchen area, the commons area. He could see the stairwells, and there you could even see that big bank of windows where the sliders were. And for me, that was a real chilling point in this whole case. I'm going to be interested to see what his internet activity is, if he had, kind of been watching them vis-a-vis this.
Okay, Stephanie Pagonis, what are we leaving out?
Nancy, I think there is still so much more to come. I think really the first trove, if you may, the first treasure trove might come as soon as Tuesday when we finally have a better idea from a probable cause affidavit. I think there is so much that is currently being left out simply because we're not being told. But I do think now that this man has been arrested and his name is out there, we will most certainly begin to hear more about him, what he's done, how he might have made people feel or what they might have witnessed from him. I think this is only just the beginning.
Oh, yes, it's just the beginning. And I can guarantee you one thing. If a guy was so fastidious, so obsessive, that he insisted his parents get rid, not wash, in the dishwasher with baking heat cycles, but get rid of pots and pans that had ever cooked meat.
Or more about him, what he's done, how he might have made people feel, or what they might have witnessed from him. I think this is only just the beginning.
Oh, yes, it's just the beginning. And I can guarantee you one thing. If a guy was so fastidious, so obsessive, that he insisted his parents get rid, not wash, in the dishwasher with baking heat cycles, but get rid of pots and pans that had ever cooked meat, for him to use those pots and pans, if he...
Okay, so I was just looking on Bryan Eaton. Let me share it with you because I'm gonna have to do 2 lives today. It looks like. So initial. It says initial appearance is at 9:30 a.m. and that's Pacific time. So it's going to be 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Video will be allowed, but we cannot put it out until after the hearing is over. So I'm going to come back on and do a live at 12:30 because I don't feel like he'll probably go right at 12:30 back there. He may be a few people in line. There might be a few people, before him. And then we can check it out here on Bryan Eaton's Twitter because he'll release it, it seems like, right after his court. So we'll be able to watch that. But you can even see that he's in line. He looks like he's the first person in line, Bryan Eaton. He's, bless his soul, He's a really good person, really good reporter. I really like him. Let's see. So that's all I have for you for right now because I want to come back on and do another live and it's 11 o'clock. So I have to go let the dogs out, real quick and then do all that fun stuff. I'll have to put it up, later on. I'll have to do the panel later on since I'm going to be doing a live, here at 12:30 now, it looks like, instead of later on this evening. But I can do that later on maybe. Let's see. I wanted to see if there's anything else. I thought there was something else on here, but maybe not. It just says in line. And then we already saw that from earlier. So I had my messages up. Okay, so I will be back on because I still have to do a thumbnail and everything for the live for later on tonight or today, actually at 12:30. So it's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, which means Pacific 9:30, Mountain Time 10:30, Central it'll be 11:30, Eastern Standard Time 12:30. So we will have that. I will have that ready for you guys. So if you guys want to meet me back here, and then I had a couple other things I was going to show you. So I can just show you while we're waiting on him to come out of court or something like that. But I do appreciate you guys so much. Let me go ahead and share our subscriber tab. We got it all the way to 3201. This is our live tab for our Titan count. That's what we are here. We're not subscribers. We're Titans. So, and also I forgot to tell you guys this in the beginning. My name is TitaniumBuilt or Tanya. You can call me either or. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. But thank you so much for joining me for a little bit of your morning. I will be back at 12:30, which is like an hour and a half here. So I will see you guys so soon. And yep, so if I don't see you, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do true crime here, and I do a little bit of other little things like reviews, life vlogs, all that good stuff. So I will see you guys in just a few minutes. Bye, guys.